Orys Baratheon. Estimated to be born before 20 BC. Founder of House Baratheon and a key figure in the time of Aegon the Conqueror, many believed Orys was Aegon Targaryen's bastard half-brother. The pair grew up together and remained close throughout their lives, with Orys serving as Aegon's most trusted ally and as his strongest commander. During their invasion of Westeros, Orys led several important ground campaigns for the Targaryens. His most famous victory took place in the Stormlands, where he faced King Argilac Durrandon, the last ruler of the ancient Storm Kings, who refused to surrender. The conflict ended in single combat between the two men. Orys killed Argilac and brought an end to a dynasty, House Durrandon, that had ruled the Stormlands since the Age of Heroes. The Stormlands fell under Targaryen control, and Aegon granted Orys Storm's End and all former Durrandon lands. Orys then secured his claim by marrying Argilac's daughter, Argella Durrandon, in around 1 BC. He also took her family's sigil and motto. This act officially founded House Baratheon, with Orys as its first lord. Orys later became Hand of the King under Aegon I. During the First Dornish War, he was captured by Dornish forces, who chopped off his sword hand. As a result, he became known thereafter as Orys One Hand. Although he continued to take part in military campaigns, he never recovered his former confidence. Orys died in 37 AC while fighting near the Dornish border. And before we move on to Rogar, don't forget to click the like button. Rogar Baratheon was a grandson of Orys. He was born in 17 AC and grew into a respected lord. He inherited Storm's End circa 43 AC during a turbulent period in the history of the Seven Kingdoms, the violent rule of King Maegor. After Queen Dowager Alyssa Velaryon fled Dragonstone with her children, Rogar offered them sanctuary at Storm's End. This was an open act of defiance against Maegor. Rogar knew the danger, but chose to act anyway. As opposition to Maegor increased, Rogar publicly named the teenage Jaehaerys Targaryen as the rightful king. When Maegor died a short time later, Jaehaerys took the throne without a war. Given the king was not yet old enough to rule on his own, Rogar was appointed Hand of the King, serving as one of Jaehaerys' regents. Rogar focused on restoring order by arresting Maegor's remaining supporters. Young Jaehaerys, however, preferred forgiveness and unity over punishment. Problems arose when Rogar married Alyssa Velaryon, making him the king's stepfather. The marriage strengthened ties between House Baratheon and House Targaryen, but it upset Jaehaerys, as he had not been consulted about it beforehand. Rogar and Alyssa produced 2 children, Boremund and Jocelyn. Although the union was praised in public, it damaged Rogar's position at court. Jaehaerys' own marriage saw tensions boil over when Rogar learned that the king had married his sister, Alysanne, in secret. He strongly opposed the match for religious reasons and tried to have it annulled. Rogar even suggested alternative marriages to build alliances and control the line of succession, including a plan to marry Alysanne into House Baratheon, but these failed. Jaehaerys refused to change his decision and waited until he came of age. Once he did, he ended the regency and took full control of the throne. With his influence gone, Rogar returned to Storm's End. Though his health was failing, Rogar still managed to suppress the rebellion of the Vulture King in the Dornish Mountains, with help from King Jaehaerys himself. Rogar passed away shortly afterward in 62 AC. Boremund Baratheon. Born in 52 AC, he was the son of Rogar and Queen Alyssa Velaryon, which made him part of both House Baratheon and House Targaryen. From a young age, he bore the physical traits of the former, strong, broad, and distinctly Baratheon. As an adult, he became known for his large build, thick black beard, and straightforward manner. Many compared him to his father in both strength and presence. Boremund inherited Storm's End aged just 10, after Rogar's death in 62 AC. At first, a regent ruled in his place, but once Boremund came of age and took full control, he proved to be a steady and dependable lord. During the reigns of Kings Jaehaerys I and Viserys I, Storm's End remained a reliable stronghold. Boremund is best remembered for his strong support of Princess Rhaenys Targaryen. She was his niece via his sister, Jocelyn Baratheon. At the Great Council of 101 AC, Boremund argued that Rhaenys had the rightful claim to the Iron Throne. He believed her claim was valid as the eldest descendant of Prince Aemon. Although the council chose Viserys instead, Boremund accepted the decision and did not rebel. He remained loyal to the crown while continuing to support Rhaenys on a personal level. He did not live to see the dance of the dragons, but his actions and his example influenced House Baratheon's position in the conflict. Borros Baratheon was the Lord of Storm's End during the Dance of the Dragons. Born around 104 AC, Borros inherited the size and strength of the House Baratheon line, but he did not possess his father's restraint. He became known for his quick temper, blunt behavior, and lack of diplomacy. In comparing Borros to his father, Septon Eustace observed, "Lord Boremund was stone, hard and strong and unmoving. Lord Borros was the wind that rages and howls and blows this way and that." When King Viserys I died in 129 AC, many expected Borros to support Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, following his father's long loyalty to her family. But Borros chose a different path. Both sides sought his support. Rhaenyra sent her son, Prince Lucerys Velaryon, to remind Borros of old ties. King Aegon sent his brother, Prince Aemond. Aemond proposed a marriage alliance between House Baratheon and the Greens. Borros found this offer more appealing. When Lucerys arrived without a similar proposal, Borros took it as an insult. He felt Rhaenyra had taken his loyalty for granted and declared his support for Aegon. Tensions rose between Lucerys and Aemond in the Great Hall of Storm's End, but Borros refused to allow violence in his home and ordered both princes to leave. Once outside, Aemond chased Lucerys into a fierce storm, where Lucerys and his dragon were killed above Shipbreaker Bay. This moment marked the true beginning of the Dance of the Dragons. After this, Borros fully committed House Baratheon to the Green cause. What did you think of this epic duel? Did Borros back the right side? Let us know in the comments. Lyonel Baratheon. The new MVP of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the Laughing Storm was born in 174 AC and descended from Borros. He became Lord of Storm's End during the reign of King Aegon V. Large, powerful, and possessing typical Baratheon strength, he gained a reputation as one of the best warriors of his time. While many of his forebears were known for their anger or severity, Lyonel met danger with humor. He was known to laugh openly in battle, even while trading blows mano a mano. His combination of humor and strength earned him the name the Laughing Storm, and made him popular with the small folk. By the 230s AC, Lyonel had become Lord of Storm's End. Even as he grew older, he remained strong and widely respected. The most significant crisis under his leadership came during the reign of King Aegon. Lyonel's only daughter had been promised to Prince Duncan Targaryen, the king's eldest son. When the prince broke the betrothal to marry a common woman, Lyonel saw it as a serious insult. Lyonel openly rebelled, withdrawing his loyalty from the Iron Throne and declaring himself Storm King. This uprising was short but dramatic. Instead of becoming a full war, it was settled through single combat. In the end, Aegon pardoned Lyonel and offered a new marriage alliance between his daughter, Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, and Lyonel's son and heir, Ormund Baratheon. Lyonel accepted the terms and soon stepped aside. And that's all we'll say for now. As we know, many of you are seeing The Laughing Storm for the first time. Ormund Baratheon was the son and heir of Lyonel. In 245 AC, he married Rhaenyra in a marriage that firmly tied House Baratheon to the royal family. Ormund became Lord of Storm's End in the mid-3rd century AC. Ormund ruled quietly. He did not rebel or seek power at court. Instead, he built a reputation for loyalty and steady service. Through his marriage to Rhaenyra, Ormund had a son, Steffon Baratheon. Ormund died during the War of the Ninepenny Kings in 260 AC, which was the last Blackfyre Rebellion. As a powerful lord with close ties to the crown, he led royal forces to the Stepstones, where he died during the early fighting. He was killed by Meleys Blackfyre, the leader of the rebels, and he died in his young son Steffon's arms. Steffon Baratheon was born in 246 AC to Ormund and Rhaenyra. As a child, he spent much of his time at court in King's Landing. There he served as a page and later as a squire. During these years, he formed close ties with both Prince Orys Targaryen, who would later become the Mad King, and with Tywin Lannister. Steffon became Lord of Storm's End at around age 14. With the guidance of his mother and trusted advisors, he grew into the role. In 262 AC, he married Lady Cassana Estermont, who was the daughter of Lord Estermont, Lord of Greenstone. Together, they had 3 sons, Robert, Stannis, and Renly. Steffon remained loyal to the Iron Throne throughout his life, and in 278 AC, King Orys II sent him across the Narrow Sea to find a Valyrian bride for Prince Rhaegar. Steffon failed to secure a suitable match, but Orys continued to trust him. But the journey home ended in disaster. As Steffon's ship approached Storm's End, it was caught in a fierce storm. The ship was wrecked within sight of the castle. Steffon and Cassandra drowned, along with nearly everyone on board. Afterward, the boys, who had watched on in horror as the storm claimed the ship, went to live at the Eyrie under Jon Arryn's care. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the world of Westeros. Robert Baratheon. From an early age, Robert fit the Baratheon mold perfectly. He was tall, broad, strong, and full of confidence. He was also friendly, fearless, and naturally charming. After his parents died, Robert was fostered by Jon Arryn, alongside Ned Stark. Jon Arryn became a father figure to both boys and taught them loyalty and honor. Robert and Ned formed a great friendship, and their alliance only grew stronger when Robert was betrothed to his sister, Lyanna. Then, in 282 AC, Lyanna vanished with Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. When Lyanna's brother Brandon demanded justice, King Aerys II had Brandon and their father, Rickard, executed. The king then ordered Jon Arryn to surrender Robert and Ned. Jon Arryn refused and called his banners. Houses Stark, Arryn, and Tully joined him in what became known as Robert's Rebellion. The war reached its climax at the Battle of the Trident in 283 AC, where Robert led the rebel army against Prince Rhaegar's forces. During the fighting, Robert and Rhaegar met in single combat at a river crossing later known as the Ruby Ford. Robert killed Rhaegar with a blow from his warhammer. With the Crown Prince dead, royal morale collapsed and the war was over. Soon after, King's Landing fell. Tywin Lannister gained entry to the city by feigning loyalty to the crown, and the Mad King Aerys was later killed by Tywin's son, Jaime. Ned then traveled to the Tower of Joy, arriving as his sister Lyanna died of complications from childbirth. Robert never learned the truth about her relationship with Rhaegar or her child. To him, Lyanna's death confirmed his belief that the Targaryens had taken everything from him. Though he had won the throne, he felt hollow and lost. In 284 AC, Robert was crowned King of the Seven Kingdoms. To secure his throne, he married Cersei Lannister. Jon Arryn became Hand of the King and handled the day-to-day rule, while Robert rewarded his allies and sent the remaining Targaryens into exile. King Robert's reign began with hope. However, he had little interest in ruling. He preferred hunting, feasting, tournaments, and drinking. His marriage to Cersei was unhappy from the start, as Robert remained obsessed with Lyanna and sought comfort elsewhere, fathering many bastards while ignoring his supposed heirs. Under Jon Arryn's guidance, the realm stayed stable. Still, Robert failed as a husband and father. He never questioned the parentage of Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen, unaware that his wife's twin brother Jaime was the true father. Jon Arryn eventually discovered the truth, but he was killed before he could reveal it. In 298 AC, Robert traveled to Winterfell to ask Ned Stark to become Hand of the King. Back in the south, he later went hunting in the Kingswood near King's Landing. To keep him impaired, Cersei had her cousin Lancel supply him with very strong wine. Robert, heavily drunk, was gored by a boar and died of the wound. Before dying, he had Ned recorded as protector of the realm to rule until his heir came of age. Robert died without learning the truth about his children's parentage, and his death helped set in motion the War of the Five Kings. Stannis Baratheon was the second son, and he was very different from Robert. Stannis did not have Robert's charm or warmth. He was serious, blunt, and had little sense of humor. But though he was widely disliked, even his enemies knew he was honest and principled. During Robert's rebellion, 19-year-old Stannis was left to defend Storm's End while Robert and Ned fought across Westeros. Forces from the Reach, led by Mace Tyrell, surrounded the castle in 282 AC and began a long siege. The blockade lasted almost a year, with food running out to the point that the defenders ate rats, leather, and anything they could find. Still, Stannis refused to surrender. Help finally came from a smuggler named Davos Seaworth. Davos slipped through the blockade with onions and salted fish. The food kept the castle alive until Ned arrived to lift the siege. Stannis never forgot this. He made Davos a knight for saving them, despite also punishing him for past crimes by cutting off the tips of his fingers. In Stannis' world, justice had to include both reward and punishment. After Robert became king, Stannis expected to be recognized for his sacrifice. But instead, Robert gave Storm's End to their younger brother Renly, and Stannis was sent to rule Dragonstone. An insulted Stannis saw this as exile, not honor. He accepted the post without complaint but grew resentful. Stannis' home life was chaotic. He married Lady Selyse Florent, a stern and deeply religious woman, but their marriage lacked warmth. After several stillbirths, they had one child, Shireen, who survived grayscale as a baby, but was left badly scarred. Stannis went to great lengths to save her. Though a distant father, he loved her. Near the end of Robert's reign, everything changed. Jon Arryn began to suspect that Queen Cersei's children were not Robert's. He brought Stannis into the investigation. Together they studied family traits and bloodlines until the truth became clear. Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen were the children of Cersei and Jaime. This meant Stannis was the rightful heir to the throne. Stannis knew he was in danger when Jon Arryn was poisoned. He fled King's Landing for Dragonstone, where he began gathering ships and men. After Robert's death, Stannis declared Joffrey illegitimate and named himself the true king. Only a few lords were willing to back a Baratheon against the might of the Lannisters. And unfortunately for Stannis, some of them chose to back a different Baratheon altogether, Brother Renly, who also claimed a right to the crown. Now Stannis faced both the throne and his own brother. At this point, Stannis turned to Melisandre, a red priestess from Ashai. She told him he was a hero, chosen to save the world. Whether from belief or desperation, Stannis listened to her. He permitted her to perform her forbidden magic, and adopted the Lord of Light symbol. Many lords were disturbed by this, but Stannis gained a power that did not depend on armies. When Stannis and Renly met near Storm's End, Stannis offered him mercy and a place as heir. Renly mocked him and refused. That night, Melisandre used dark magic to create a shadow assassin shaped like Stannis, which killed Renly in his tent. With Renly dead, many Storm Lords joined Stannis. Stannis gathered his largest army and marched on King's Landing. His fleet sailed into the bay but was destroyed by wildfire. As green flames consumed much of his navy, Stannis continued the attack, nearly breaking through the city gates. Then Tywin Lannister and the Tyrell army arrived and attacked from behind, and Stannis' forces were crushed. He was pulled from the battlefield and forced to return to Dragonstone defeated. Stannis isolated himself, trusting only Davos. Then when Melisandre suggested sacrificing Robert's bastard Edric Storm, Davos resisted and was jailed. Still, Davos convinced Stannis to listen to a call for help from the Wall. The Night's Watch was in danger, and Davos argued that this was Stannis' true destiny. Stannis sailed north, arriving just in time to defeat the wildling army at Castle Black. For once, Stannis fought not for the throne, but for the realm. He earned the respect of the Night's Watch and began building support in the north. In the books, Stannis is still alive, trapped by snow near Winterfell and slowly gaining loyal followers. But in the show, his story is much darker. Desperate and trapped by winter, he allows Melisandre to convince him to sacrifice his beloved daughter, Shireen. This act destroys his moral authority and his army loses faith in him. In the end, he's defeated by the Boltons and executed by Brienne of Tarth. Renly Baratheon. The youngest of the Baratheon brothers, he came of age during a time of relative peace after Robert's rebellion. Too young to remember his parents' deaths, he was still a child when Robert claimed the Iron Throne. Renly closely resembled a young Robert both in appearance and demeanor. By his early 20s, Renly was already Lord of Storm's End and Master of Laws. Renly married Margaery Tyrell in 298 AC. The marriage was a political arrangement designed to unite the Stormlands and the Reach, and it succeeded in giving Renly military backing. After Robert's death, Renly urged Ned to move decisively against the Lannisters and support his claim instead. Ned refused, and Renly left King's Landing. Upon returning to Storm's End, he declared himself King of the Seven Kingdoms, bypassing his older brother Stannis. He said, "Why the oldest son, and not the best fitted? The crown will suit me, as it never suited Robert and would not suit Stannis." Renly believed that a king should be chosen by those willing to follow him, and with the loyalty of the Reach, the Stormlands, and a massive army, his support dwarfed that of Stannis. The conflict between Renly and Stannis came to a head in 299 AC near Storm's End, when Renly was assassinated by a shadowy magical force unleashed by Melisandre. The Tyrells withdrew their allegiance and soon aligned themselves with the Lannisters. Joffrey Baratheon was never truly a Baratheon. He was the secret son of Queen Cersei Lannister and her twin brother Jaime, making his claim to the Iron Throne illegitimate from the start. Still, from 298 to 300 AC, he ruled as Robert's heir. Born in 286 AC, Joffrey was publicly presented as Robert and Cersei's firstborn, yet his blonde hair and green eyes contrasted sharply with Baratheon norms. He was indulged by his mother and largely ignored by Robert. From childhood, he showed a disturbing taste for cruelty and control. Crowned at just 12, Joffrey ruled in name while Cersei acted as regent. His first major decision was ordering Ned Stark's public execution. The act destroyed any hope of peace and ignited the War of the Five Kings. Although others handled the day-to-day rule, Joffrey frequently intervened with disastrous results. He abused Sansa Stark, ordered the killing of Robert's bastard children, and responded to unrest in King's Landing with violence. His actions earned him widespread hatred among the small folk, especially as famine and war ravaged the realm. Joffrey proved cruel but not brave. During the Battle of the Blackwater, he withdrew from the fighting, leaving others to defend the city. Afterward, he claimed victory and strengthened his position by marrying Margaery Tyrell. His reign ended suddenly at the Purple Wedding in 300 AC, when he was poisoned and died violently before the court. Tommen Baratheon succeeded his brother after the Purple Wedding. Like his siblings, he was publicly acknowledged as Robert's son, though also born of Cersei and Jaime. Crowned at just 8 years old, Tommen became one of the youngest kings in Westerosi history. Tommen was gentle, timid, and compassionate. He disliked violence and showed no hunger for authority. From the beginning, he ruled in name only. Real power still rested with his mother, before later shifting to the Tyrells and the Faith Militant. In a bid to secure the realm, Tommen was married to Margaery Tyrell, Joffrey's widow. Throughout his reign, Tommen struggled to assert himself. In both the books and the show, he is unable to stop the imprisonment and humiliation of those closest to him, including his wife and mother. In the series, Tommen's story ends in tragedy. After Cersei destroys the Sept of Baelor with wildfire, killing Margaery and the High Sparrow, Tommen takes his own life, ending Robert Baratheon's line on the Iron Throne. Shireen Baratheon was the only child of Stannis and Selyse. Born around 289 AC on Dragonstone, she survived grayscale as an infant, leaving a permanent scar on her face. Though it marked her as physically fragile in the eyes of others, Shireen grew into a gentle, intelligent, and reflective child. Her upbringing was a lonely one. Her parents were distant in different ways. Stannis expressed care through strict duty rather than warmth, while Selyse's religious fanaticism often caused her to see Shireen as sinful or weak. In the television series, her story takes a devastating turn. Melisandre persuades Stannis to sacrifice her, and Stannis ultimately consents in a desperate bid to salvage his cause. In the novels, Shireen remains alive at the Wall, though a future tragedy is heavily foreshadowed. House Baratheon's rise was powerful, but brief, and their time on the throne came at a high cost. Few houses wielded the crown so forcefully, and few lost it with such devastating consequences. If you enjoyed this, make sure to check out our deep dive into every Stark and the other great houses of Westeros, and be sure to hit subscribe. See you in the next video.